go. I'll talk to the staff before I leave. Feel free to take your time.
So Haru lost her father, ran away from the group, and definitely should have some trust issues with them because of what has occurred, is forced to deal with the police while grieving, yet she brushes all of that off in the matter of days like it's nothing.
The medjed that I banned wasn't the real one.
Huh? Aren't you the real one, though?
Oh,
Ryuji should start his GameSense channel if he keeps this up. Seriously, what's this guy's deal? He just came in here, threatened to take Sojiro to court, and tried to punch Joker and fell flat in his face, all because he's a worthless gambling addict. Doesn't this guy have anything better to do in his life than being petty like this? Why the hell would Joker carelessly venture alone into Mementos with worthless fried motherboard Futaba without sufficient manpower like Mona just so they can deal with her uncle? I get that Joker is capable and I get that this is personal, but you can't pull this crap on me and break the rules the game established just so that I can deal with these stupid inconsistencies of yours. This also violates the unanimous decision crap the Phantom Thieves established. This target should have been dealt with like any other small fry.
You seem to be having quite a lot of fun, Haru. You did mention that you were looking forward to this.
I want to go around with everyone and eat at the refreshment stands.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have fun, but if we're being realistic, Haru should have been a little dejected at the very least from, losing her father recently, until Yusuke brings up how much she was looking forward to the festival. It's not a huge detail, but at least treat your character with empathy rather than make her appear cold about this behind a smile.
actually, we spent most of our budget on making the maid costumes look nice. We didn't put too much effort into the octopus.
Then this maid stand is really worthless with what quality food they're serving.
Thank you for the wait. Ooh, it's fresh made. Lies. I heard a microwave go off.
Futaba would be great at GameSense. What kind of serving is that? Shouldn't everyone get at least a plate each?
The identity of the Phantom Thieves are... it's mine. I apologize for the interruption, but I can't turn off my phone due to my job. Please don't troll me online for this interruption, okay?
Too late, bro. Too late.
What do you want to talk about?
How convenient that Yagami Light Bootleg was able to take pictures and record video evidence in the exact same timing it took for the Phantom Thieves to come fresh out of the palace while being chased by the guards. Speaking of which, he seemed to be having the time of his life killing Okumura and would have taken double the time to escape, given that he doesn't have a car on him. How exactly did he survive again?
This cat. I swear, it just talked.
This is something that bothers me with the story of this game, and that's in regards to Akechi actually understanding Morgana after the incident with Madarame. Like, there's no explanation whatsoever as to how or why was Akechi able to understand what Morgana was saying first try without encountering him at all. Akechi never met Morgana before in his life, nor was he expecting a fucking random cat of all the random creatures on Earth to be talking about pancakes the moment he met with the Phantom Thieves for the first time, and he was figured out because of that alone. Someone might mention that he was in Madarame's palace when the Phantom Thieves were trying to steal his treasure. That's why Madarame's shadow mentioned the guy with the black mask after he was defeated. But when exactly did that happen, and why would Akechi go to Madarame's shadow out of the blue to threaten him or spy on the Phantom Thieves when he had no idea what they looked like, or if they targeted someone other than Madarame from like a plethora of other choices out there to begin with? Even if he did go to Madarame's shadow out of pure intuition, the odds that he'd actually find them before stealing the treasure and see Mona speaking so that his cognition would change is extremely low. Who on the writing team was responsible for this shit? Because I feel that this scene on the social studies trip with Akechi should have never existed. The only time Akechi was able to take a proper look at the Phantom Thieves was when they entered the palace in search for Mona, and he supposedly was right behind them up until they met Haru for the first time.
I ask that you disband the Phantom Thieves after this.
Why didn't any of them think of trying to negotiate that possibility if they're allowed to go to Mementos to recover Morgana's memory? Like, goddammit, we have 3 smart characters in here, yet their brains are just for show because they don't use it when it counts so that they can make the situation in their favor, even if a little. They also don't do that the second time Akechi offers them the same deal at LeBlanc.
Damn it! He had complete control over us!
Is everyone gonna ignore these pictures that he just placed there and leave? This is evidence regardless of whether it's photoshopped or not. Seriously, these phantom thieves are so laid back to the point that they should be smacked given the stupidity they're showing. I was in a dancing game, you fool.
All right, who has something to say? Anyone? Anyone?
Over here! Over here! This guy's got something. What?
Where is this guy? I can't seem to find him. Oh well. Blondie, step on up here.
What?
This is peak comedy right here. Why are you even going along with this again? Pretty much all of the characters does this except for Kawakami, who can leave that guy hanging without embarrassing herself. Why are you sitting close to the shop's door, and why didn't Sojiro notice you?
This is a calling card, right? I read about it online, too.
You went into my room without my permission?
First, why wouldn't he? He's your guardian. He doesn't have to apologize. Second, you have no right to speak of privacy, given that you wiretapped LeBlanc without permission under the excuse that you check on Sojiro and spy on the Phantom Thieves, in addition to hacking Joker's phone and devaluing his privacy. So your privacy was thrown out of the window a long time ago. Language, Ryuji. I'm the one who's allowed to curse here.
We're wanted now. And the reward's 30 million yen? What is this, a comic book?
Well, judging by the art style and the shenanigans of this game, yeah, pretty much.
I never brought it up until now, but the reason I joined the Phantom Thieves is because I wanted to change my sister's heart. I was hoping I wouldn't have to resort to it, though. I've also known for quite some time that she has a palace.
Why didn't you tell us?
It was too selfish of a reason.
Too selfish of a reason? She has been hunting you all down ever since the Mafia incident, and you didn't think what would happen if she caught you all red-handed?
You got a good personality and good looks? Talk about cheating.
If you're insinuating that you got the model you wanted by just having a good personality and good looks, then you're wrong. He worked hard for it and he earned it. You have a room that includes an expensive custom-built PC for hacking with several monitors, a laptop, 2 headphones, a smartphone, collectible figurines, a refrigerator, free food, clothes, and books that would cost a fortune, brought to you by Sojiro's wallet. If anything, you're the cheater here.
Of course, we'll need to secure an infiltration route before we send out the calling card. As always.
So the calling card wasn't merely for show? It's a necessary step?
Will you please stop interrupting?
Mona was pretty much done talking. Would you stop antagonizing Akechi?
We will continue this there.
Teleportation is always a dick move cliche. Foreshadowing.
Nice.
He left the calling card at the target's home? How exactly is Mona able to do this in the moment where we decide to view the request, let alone to find the location of these targets to begin with? He may be able to sneak effectively, but he can't teleport, so I'm adding 5 cents for this bullshit. You know what was one of the worst things about vanilla Persona 5? It was the fact that you had to wait all the way until Saya's Palace or Shiro's Palace to get into Mementos while flu season was active, just to inflict despair on the Reaper in order to grind, and I didn't know about this until after I reached Yaldabaoth with a level close to 64 the first time I played the vanilla version. Thankfully, this is not the case in the royal version since I can reach level 90 right after the second palace, though you have to wait around for a bit, which is fair. But hey, I don't have all day to keep driving around in circles.
As for the Taro Tanaka card... Crow, get rid of it next time you see a garbage can.
Why me?
These kinds of chores always fall to the newbie.
Sure thing, social outcast.
Look, I found the perfect exit. Let's hurry up and get out of here.
Perfect exit my ass. Why are there conveniently placed open vents or crawl spaces right in areas where I'm supposed to be either stuck or have to avoid shadows? Does this occur because of the thieves' cognition which forces these stupid vents to spawn? Or is it just contrived and bad level design? I never thought about this before, but don't these guys consider themselves as thieves? If so, then why do they own functional communicators and not flashlights? What kind of amateur thieves am I playing with? This is the most basic thing a thief should own. And no, Joker's third eye ability doesn't count.
Hey, look!
This shit again?
Actually, once my count reached 460,000, I borrowed the maximum amount a second time. After paying back the original 10,000, I was left with 910,000. Adding Joker's total to that brings us to 1,010,000 coins.
I'll remove a sin off for Crow because this is how you actually use your brain.
We should hurry and let the bridge down before she decides to change the rules once again.
She can raise the coin count up to 1,000,000, yet can't double the amount the moment Akechi outsmarts her. How is that possible again?
In my opinion, we should wait until right before the time limit.
May I ask your reasoning behind that idea?
Sai-san is a realist, even if she believes the Phantom Thieves exist. Do you think she knows how they steal hearts? Furthermore, there is a chance she expects that she herself will be targeted.
So because her heart is ready for any possibility, the calling card might not have enough effect?
I only say that theoretically, but I believe so. Hence, it would be prudent for us to wait until we are driven into a corner to act. If we do so with no time to spare, I assume even Sai-san would have to be somewhat agitated.
This is quite a specific tactic you're placing on Saya here. You sure you're not suspicious? The fact that I have to travel from Akihabara to Yongen just to ask Futaba to hack a website and Mona to make a calling card, then return back to a literal spoiled child who calls himself the Gamer King, to show him said calling card along with the hacking of the site just so that I can start his confidant instead of, I don't know, watch videos on YouTube to show me how to handle a gun effectively like a normal person screams absurd, tedious, uninspired, and a waste of time and money to me. Also, why the hell would I even need the help of a child in handling a gun if there is an ex-member of the Yakuza clan who is way more experienced in this shit than a brat with a toy gun? I get that he teaches Joker Downshot and Bullet Hell, which are extremely useful abilities, but come on, you could have come up with a better confidant for this instead of a kid who is about as obnoxious as the Velvet Twins. I get that Akechi wanted to fight Joker to prove that he's superior, and it's nice that we can lay the smackdown on him before sending the calling card, but this is yet another time that this game breaks its consistency. Why do we have to go to Mementos to fight without at least Mona joining us to be the spectator at the very least, or deal with the shadows that interfere with the battle?
This.
What a nice not so subtle way to show me that you're the villain, sketchy Akechi. Didn't Akechi say that he'd battle Joker with everything he got? Then where the hell did the equipment I gave him go to, and why is he using mid-tier magic on Joker instead of high-tier magic? Also, since we're on the topic, Akechi is a wild card like Joker, but his skills are completely useless aside from having Debilitate on him. Even in the third semester, his abilities are also useless aside from having only 2 useful abilities such as Leviathan or Debilitate with the exclusion of Rebellion Blade because it ain't available until the very end of the game. The skills he has doesn't establish him as an actual unit, a threat, or as an overpowered persona user who everyone should rightfully fear. Why did the devs fail in making him more appealing to use, or at least making him somewhat game-breaking like an actual wildcard should be, with us being able to switch between both of his personas where Robin Hood retains his Bless and Curse abilities that we got from leveling him up, or adding more abilities onto him like Heat Riser, Concentrate, or Charge, while making it very different for Loki, who should have had unique almighty abilities or even passive abilities that Joker also possesses like Angelic Grace, Magic Ability, and Almighty Boost or Amp, or an ability that combines all 3 or 4 of them, and not what we got in the third semester. That, in addition to giving us the ability to use his Call of Chaos to make any member on the team or the ones on the field psychotic to increase their attack power while lowering their defense. It would have been very interesting if the devs went with this direction to better balance out his powers instead of putting him on support so he doesn't look like a joke when compared to the other party members or Joker. But as usual, the developers failed at doing their one job. The dude was established as a threat, both in skill and intelligence alone. His skills as a persona user should establish him as an even greater threat.
This is...
Who in their right mind would brew coffee from animals' waste? It doesn't matter if it's washed or cleaned from any harmful stuff coming out of the digestive system or if it's safe to consume. I'm more concerned about how a depraved product like that exists, let alone given clearance to be distributed and sold to the public. Also, what kind of a moron would buy such a thing?
To be entirely honest, it was all the way back in April, when I first came to speak with the principal here about providing counseling to you students. I actually witnessed the moment when you came out of an individual's reality like I'd mentioned. You suddenly appeared in the back alley near the school. I believe Sakamoto-kun and Takamaki-san were with you? Takamaki-san appeared to be extremely exhausted.
So Dr. Markey knew that Joker and his friends are phantom thieves just from a quick glance when he was passing by right at the exact same moment they came out of Kamoshira's palace? You know, the level of convenience that this game poses is so absurd that I'm tempted to add another 100 cents to the counter. But I'll refrain and add 10 instead.
I do have a suggestion, though. Care to strike a deal? If you cooperate with me, I'll consider lightening your sentence.
Striking a deal with Saya and selling out your comrades and your confidants doesn't amount to anything but you being shot, achieving a bad ending, and wasting literal hours if you haven't saved. That's why you don't go bargaining with gamblers or anyone who has given to temptation in their bio, or adds the lyrics for the theme of their palace. Bro, what did I just say about bargaining with gamblers?
No, it can't be. Even me.
You've been an accomplice of Shido from the start, so you should know by now how he operates. Of course he would eliminate you.
It's Akechi-kun. He had to take a sudden call, so he won't be able to make it down today.
Huh?
I've been asked to handle things instead.
You? But...
You know, if you stay here, they'll likely get rid of you to eliminate any evidence. I suggest you go into hiding at once if you value your life.
Yes, ma'am.
Saya is lucky that the guard just so happened to be shitting his pants that she was able to get Joker out of the interrogation room.
Well then, let us rouse the memories which are missing.
Really? Then care to explain how or why exactly can Joker recall memories of his teammates in the interrogation room even though he wasn't there with them? Meaning that these memories aren't his to begin with?
Palace. The palace. Actually, there's something I'd like to say regarding...
Aha! We can use the palace to our advantage! What's this all of a sudden? There's a way. A way to get past Akechi and get the mastermind to lay off of us, all while learning his identity.
Really?
You gotta be kidding me!
If he wants to kill the guy, why not let him? That is, inside of a palace.
Joker getting captured by the police to have Akechi kill his fake in the metaverse may seem like a convoluted plan due to some plot elements that were not explained properly or downright excluded. First, the fact that you can't use your smartphone as you wish in the metaverse, which means certain functions has to be limited or restricted like the camera, social media apps, or even access to the internet. The game never gives a clear explanation of what app can and cannot be used, so Futaba's app that can activate the nav remotely to send both Saya and Akechi to the metaverse and is capable of message scheduling, where she sends pre-recorded messages to Saya as to not encounter Akechi while assassinating Joker and get her out of the metaverse seems kinda far-fetched, since it was not even guaranteed that the pre-recorded messages would actually go through and pop up on Joker's phone in the exact timing Futaba wanted. Even if Futaba is a genius hacker and her persona is an extension of her ability, this doesn't mean that whatever she comes up with would and should actually work given the loose established rules of the cognitive world. Second, the idea that Akechi would fall right under the Phantom Thief's plan without noticing that something is amiss is quite baffling. Akechi has experienced the metaverse 2 years before the events of the game started, and ever since then, he was going in and out of the metaverse to induce mental shutdowns and psychotic breakdowns again and again, so he probably would notice if he entered the metaverse even if briefly, or get a notification on his phone that he returned to the real world the same way Joker received one after his first escape from Kamoshira's palace. Sure, Akechi might have slipped in regards to Morgana's voice, which is also questionable, but he's not so careless as to not notice the short painful sensation of entering the metaverse. Third, which is the most important and inconsistent part, the shadows that Akechi killed. Back in the beginning of the game, killing shadows with a gun means they disappear immediately and entirely without any delay. The same thing is presented in Okumura's palace where he immediately disappeared after being shot a second time. But the situation after Joker's incarceration and interrogation is a different story. Once Akechi assassinated the guard and the cognitive Joker, their bodies didn't disappear and conveniently lingered long enough for Akechi to check on Joker's corpse while acting smug, place the guard's gun in his hand, remove the silencer, and walk away while taking his sweet-ass time. Even if the gun that Akechi used was a fake because it was in the cognitive world, it still functioned like a normal gun due to Akechi's perception of it. The first two reasons that I mentioned can be overlooked, but not the third, because it directly conflicts with what we have experienced so far while battling shadows. This plan should have never worked in the first place only due to this major inconsistency, so any reasoning trying to justify it or dispute this inconsistency is nothing but bullshit, and I won't accept any input related to it.
I heard my sister brought him here, though.
Yeah, she came over in a taxi, dumped him off, and told me to keep him safe.
How did Saya sneak out of the building with a drunk semi-unconscious beat-up child wearing a school uniform, get him inside a taxi and drop him into Sojiro's house without being noticed by the police?
Wait, so what was this mistake Akechi made? What did he do?
He slipped up in regards to Morgana's voice.
You mean a cat?
Yes, Morgana can talk.
Now here's an idea. Why don't they get Sojiro and Saya in the metaverse using the nav so that they can change their cognition, allowing them to understand Morgana instead of having both of them sit here listening to a talking cat that they can't understand while questioning if those kids are high on cocaine or not. Sojiro, where are you going? There is not a room in here.
You going out?
Wouldn't people find you suspicious if you came along with a hoodie like this?
Shido's the guy who set you up?
What kind of fate brought you two back together?
Probably doesn't have anything to do with the events of the game being coincidental.
Just try saying anything. It doesn't matter if you guess.
Incompetent fools like you just need to shut your mouths and follow where I steer this country.
Steer?
I find it impossible to believe that Joker, the jackass with the pristine memory who couldn't remember the face of the person who caused him to have a criminal record, can remember what the same person said about steering the country prior to the events of the spring.
Did anything change? We went in, right?
Security guards seem to be gone, but it's difficult to tell for certain.
How the hell can looking at your goddamn surroundings be that difficult? Couldn't neither of them notice the buildings being separated or being farther away from one another? Like Ryuji was facing where the ocean is. There's also this stupid pan out that shows how ridiculous these guys look. A normal person would have an easier time noticing this shit. What happened to the lighting? It was so bright during the anime cutscene but looks way darker while in game for no reason.
I got the feeling that something big was going to take place that day. So... I'm so sorry. I was actually following you the entire time.
Forget that she was able to tail Joker and the others to the courthouse unnoticed. How and when was she able to learn about the keywords of Saya's palace when Joker and the others had their search history saved? Like it's her first time visiting such a place. You can't tell me that she learned the keywords of the palace on her own because this is bullshit.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not done here yet, are you? Then perhaps I ought to lend you a hand.
Well, we could definitely use the additional firepower, but...
Well, if we're thinking with logic, yeah, she might be a hindrance, but if we're thinking as consumers who paid full price for this bullshit re-release of the original, then why the hell is she not a party member already? Carelessness equals convenience.
Hold up, Joker. Let me go with her. I mean, dude, it's a restaurant.
Is there no bottom to your stupidity, Ryuji?
Yeah.
Alright, gotta hand it to Ryuji here. They fell for this. How did Futaba get Joker and the others out of this small cage without turning into a mouse herself?
I'm in your father's debt, after all. I can repay some kindness to his daughter.
Thank you. Very much.
But your father truly was a fool. He could have lived a life of luxury if only he'd done what he was told. You know, I'm the one who broadcast the moment of his mental shutdown. Our ratings shot up because of that.
Excuse me while I mock you and your deceased father for a moment to show you how much of an asshole I am. How the hell can you say you'll let me off the hook if your stupid ass keeps sending your small fries on me?
Whoa!
Thank goodness.
I'll add 5 cents for suffering through these cringy interactions.
You're an IT guy, right? I can tell we talk the same language.
Who cares if she talks the same language as him? Why is he allowing her to stay instead of kicking her out of his private space? Also, how the hell is this laptop working, much less connected to the internet in the cognitive world, when it's already established that certain functions are limited? Neither the writers nor the game itself explain or specify exactly what does and what doesn't work on smartphones, and now we have a laptop. Would these devs get their fucking mediocre rules and lore together?
Clan? Does he mean like Yakuza clan?
Does it, Ryuji? The tattoos are usually a dead giveaway.
I won't accept anything except a godly phoenix fitting for my godly personality.
By the way, you're more feral pigeon than phoenix.
Again? Where the hell did the powerful equipment I gave him go to? Like, is it that hard to have Akechi use the skills and equipment he gained against us?
Teammates! Friends! To hell with that! Why am I inferior to you? I was extremely particular about my life, my grades, my public image, so someone would want me around. I am an ace detective, a celebrity! You're just some criminal trash living in an attic. So how? How does someone like you have things I don't? How can such a worthless piece of trash be more special than me?
Because my friends are my power cliche.
I was wondering how he'd protect himself if I used my power to tear through his palace. Turns out you're how.
Are you implying that this creepy cognitive version of yourself can use both personas the same way as you do? As sick as this idea might sound, there's no way that this could happen because first, it's a cognitive version of the real deal, meaning that it's unable to use a persona regardless of how real or perfect it looks from Shiro's cognition. Second, since this is Akechi's fake, he's nothing but a piece of foam that's easily killable, so the real one shouldn't have a hard time disposing of a fake. More like a solid wall.
Yes, I'm picking up on the treasure's presence as well. There's no doubt this place is where it'll appear.
What do you mean you're picking up the treasure's presence? It's right behind you.
When did you make this?
You should have told us you were planning something.
To trick your enemies, you first gotta trick your allies.
No, you didn't trick them, you're just trying to heighten the suspense for no reason. I know I called you a worthless fried motherboard as a joke, but is your motherboard actually fried? Now, I neglected to mention this at the start of the game, but notice how these characters have suddenly activated the moonjump cheat code for no reason other than for dramatic effect, while we're forced to use a grappling hook for traversal instead of what they're doing. While this is the only boss fight that has 6 phases and is fairly challenging if you don't have Izanagi no Okami Picaro equipped, I still find it very disappointing that Shiro's boss fight and his downfall feels downplayed by the last 2 palace rulers. This is the guy who caused pretty much all of the mental and psychotic breakdown incidents. This is the guy who caused Joker to have a criminal record. This is the guy who had both Madarame and Kaneshiro act as his financial networks. This is the guy who's responsible for stealing Dr. Maruki's research and was responsible for the death of Futaba's mother and Haru's father. This is the guy who's responsible for the downfall of the Phantom Thief's popularity, and this is the guy who discarded his son to further his own ambitions. This is also the guy who would stop at nothing to destroy the Phantom Thieves, so much so he decided to kill himself temporarily to destroy his palace and the Phantom Thieves in the process. With this much development, I expected a satisfying conclusion or a more climactic boss fight than this, but unfortunately, even with the royal version, it still feels like it's all built up with little to no payoff. Where did the white boots you were wearing go? I would understand if they were on you when you were taking off your general uniform thingy, but now you look like someone who really took skipping leg day seriously. Also, this design before he turns into a Red Hulk sucks. You have grotesque monsters as personas and grotesque forms of the palace rulers, but why doesn't this one look the part? I get that what he's wearing looks like some kind of power suppressor, but it still looks silly while he's wearing it. It could have looked better if these tubes were embedded into his skin and flesh, and it would have looked even better if it was connected to the masses, which would show how he'd use his status as a politician to chain them down and suppress them, to take their power for himself. And when he releases this power, he turns into an even terrifying and somewhat grotesque version of this Red Hulk, like one of those tyrants in Resident Evil, for example.
You guys are joking, right?
This is the reason why I despise this group. Your boy Ryuji nearly died trying to save their incompetent asses, and this is the thanks he gets? Being beaten and left like this on the ground while they talk normally about it instead of giving him a proper thank you? If I was their friend and knew this would happen to me, I would have left those pieces of trash to their death. Each of those ungrateful bastards in this group deserve 100 sins each. Also, this is one huge thing I noticed in this game, and it's that you basically don't lose anyone when confronting Shido. Like, there's not even one character that gets injured heavily that makes Shido feel as dangerous as he's supposed to be. Or make this ordeal so legit that some of the Phantom Thieves would actually be lucky to get out of the palace in one piece. Like, actual consequences for confronting the mastermind behind all of these incidents so far and suffering even after their victory as the price for their rebellion. The fake-out death the devs made for Ryuji for funsies would have worked well, but they didn't capitalize on it to make it more impactful because they're cowards. Now, instead of making this fake-out death only to keep Ryuji alive anyway and turn his would-be sacrifice into a joke, why not have him suffer burns from that explosion or something that will put him out of commission for a few days, or until the mission to erase the metaverse starts, where he would choose to fight regardless of his injuries to show how much of a badass he is instead of the bullshit we got. Imagine if eating a giant-ass burger could increase your knowledge, charm, guts, and proficiency along with the levels of cholesterol you normally wouldn't take in a lifetime. Life would be so much easier. Aside from the fact that they're finally being consistent with their bullshit meetings, why is there a need to discuss Shinya's mommy issues with the Phantom Thieves personally instead of just doing it on the phone? I should have mentioned this way earlier, but how in the hell can none of these NPCs hear Morgana meowing all the time when Joker is answering questions during normal days or during the exams where everyone is dead silent? Joker shouldn't be able to get away with this, especially since the cat's meowing is so noticeable that everyone would be directing their attention towards him.
Once we accomplish our duty, we entrust the world to respectful adults. That is our condition for accepting this job.
What do you mean you're entrusting the future to adults, when it's only one adult out of millions that you're entrusting this to? This is beyond her capabilities and beyond what overkill is.
Besides, my pride won't allow me to be continually saved by you all without doing anything in return.
Then why don't you ask them to get you into the metaverse to be of use instead of receiving L's throughout the story? Who hired the guy who is screaming? Because even if his voice is low, dear God, my ears! So, to fuse them back, you have to execute them. How ironic. Why is fake Igor letting Joker execute the twins? Don't just stand there, do something.
And to the scoundrel who has swindled my master's name, your lies shall work no longer now that my sight has been restored.
Yaldabaoth assuming Igor's identity was a pretty unexpected twist to me, and since Persona 5 was the first Persona game I ever played, I automatically assumed that Igor with the deep menacing voice was the real one and absolutely hadn't the slightest idea that he was a fake this entire time. Those who played the previous entries back then might beg to differ, but it's a cool twist nonetheless, so well played. The idea of choosing to take Yaldabaoth's deal doesn't make any sense considering the fact that it would undermine everything the Phantom Thieves did at this point while erasing Joker's friends. Why did the real Igor show up now? If he was held captive by Yaldabaoth, shouldn't he remain that way? Also, how the hell did Igor get captured and sealed by Yaldabaoth in the first place? Isn't Igor powerful enough to challenge such a being? And there's also the other Velvet attendants who are nowhere to be found. Where the hell did these bastards go when their master was in trouble? There is a lot of unanswered questions that this story is ignoring for the sake of making it ambiguous, which is not bad. But you can't tell me that there are beings who are so incredibly strong and intelligent that their master got sealed off screen, while their sister got split into two off screen as well. Why the hell are these Velvet attendants missing? Where's Philmon? What happened to these guys before this phantom shenanigans took place is what I want to know.
However, my true master believed in humanity. He believed that a trickster would rise among the people and accomplish this change. But that evil entity laughed at the prospect and sought to prove the powerlessness of man with the game. And he had great potential. which is why it approached him.
All of this bullshit started because some fake god decided to entertain the idea of helping the trickster develop and forge bonds with confidants in order to cause a revolution, which would have actually succeeded had he not interfered in the final stretch and snubbed the progress that the trickster made. That and not having the foresight of the power of friendship nonsense would come back and bite him and cause his downfall.
Morgana, please guide them, and thank you for all that you've done. It's a cruel responsibility that's been cast upon you.
I will accept your words of appreciation fully when everything is over.
You could have told her to let Igor turn you into a human as thanks, so we don't have to hear you complain about not being a cat anymore. We interrupt this cutscene to bring you the Clifoth level design from Devil May Cry 5. No, you shouldn't be having legs after this.
What an immense power! No way. Is it a persona?
Yeah, it even comes with the ability to shrink for some reason. You know, Yaldabaoth, defeating you like this has no meaning. Yeah, couldn't resist putting this Devil May Cry reference here. A giant-ass gun equals kill a fake god. That's some anime bullshit right here. Also, a fake god gets killed by high school students cliche.
It seems he wasn't spouting nonsense.
If you were thinking that he was spouting nonsense, then why bother fulfilling what he was spouting, you brainless dumbass? How did Akechi survive the sinking ship? At the end of the game, it's revealed that third semester Akechi was a fake, and it's implied that the real one survived in the post-credits scene, yet we never see his face. How much are you bastards gonna celebrate? Defeating Yaldabaoth and celebrating Christmas, I get, but you guys are actively going overboard to the point that Sojiro will be broke because of it. I get that this is a place where Joker was receiving counseling and helping Dr. Markey with his research, but since this is a dream sequence, why does Joker have to wake up exactly at this infirmary of all places with his inmate uniform on, instead of being in the part of the palace where those guys were being brainwashed? And why does it have to be a forced walking segment?
So, what do you want to do after this? If we've got the time for it, why don't we grab something to eat together?
I'm sorry, I'll be heading out with my family once we're finished here.
I have somewhere to be as well.
Me too. I'll be dining with my father somewhere. I'm gonna hit up some New Year's sales with my mom.
Well, looks like you're all busy. And maybe I should hit up the track team and see what they're up to.
Ooh, I'll get in touch with Shiho and find out if she has any plans yet.
I like the atmosphere that something wrong is happening and we have to figure out what's causing this.
Good morning.
Oh, is this your first gag of the new year?
Well, it wouldn't be so if Joker and your daughter told you that they actually fought a Sphinx version of yourself in the cognitive world you were researching.
Was that a question? Of course I'm me.
Human Morgana.
Come on.
Why would a laundromat be considered as a suitable place to discuss the bizarre things that are happening currently?
Let's make a deal. What say we join forces on this?
I can't trust you, yet you're my rival.
So I've only shared pleasantries with Akechi-san. Would you say this is how he normally is? Like a ruthless sort of person.
Is that how you view Akechi in your cognition, Joker? A psychopath?
Looks like we're busted.
I've gained the power to alter reality, to make it whatever the people wish for.
If it's established that Maruki can control and shape reality as he sees fit, how is it possible for him to watch the memories of each and every subject he handles without overloading his brain? I've never thought about this as well, given that it's been on Twitter lately, but if Maruki already altered reality for everyone to be happy, does that mean that the members of SEAS would actually get to see Makoto Yuki for the first time after they saw him become the Great Seal to contain Nyx? Man, just imagine how heartbreaking that would be for the members of SEAS to meet him and spend 1 month with him only for him to vanish. Would have been a nice DLC content for Persona 3 Reload, but Atlas being Atlas would reject good ideas to bring actual money and will decide on the most horseshit decision as possible, like including Makoto in Persona 5X for no reason. Also, in the end of Persona 3, it is stated that in order for Makoto to be freed from the Great Seal, the masses have to stop wishing for death and despair, which is what the Phantom Thieves accomplished by defeating Yaldabaoth. So where's the continuation of that story, Atlas?
You don't get it. Huh? You'll never understand how I feel. What?
I understand that depression can cause you to do irrational things that may end up costing you the life of someone you really care about, but at the very least, for God's sake, remain in your place next time.
If Kasumi is gone and can't make her dream come true, then I want to become Kasumi, so I can turn her dream into reality for her.
I understand Sumiri's wish of wanting to become her sister because of her trauma, I wholeheartedly do, but why would she ever do such a thing? Sumiri clearly said that she robbed her of her life when she unintentionally caused her death, but she really did rob her of her life when she chose to become her. And that's even worse even if she tries to justify it in her head that she's achieving their dream. Why would you choose to strip away my ability to fast travel in order to meet my friends just so you can add time on the clock, Atlas? Why the hell would I spend 7 entire days to meet each and every single one of Joker's friends one by one instead of meeting them 2 or 3 at a time? Would have wasted less time that way. It's really a neat idea to fight the persona of a comrade of yours whose mind has been manipulated.
Here it comes! I don't think so!
When did Ryuji get a skill that allows him to block physical attacks? Because I don't remember having him learn or equip this ability.
Good day. This is Lavenza speaking.
Wait, how is she even calling you?
And how'd she know how high our wills are? Did she tap your line or something?
Nah, it's magic.
It would be best for me to select a location considered easy to reach by all parties. Therefore, let us convene at your school.
Why would the school suffice as a meeting spot to discuss the events that transpired? Isn't the blonde a suitable location? Or the Velvet Room, perhaps?
Allow me to produce the calling card. This is certain to be our final card.
That's what you said last time. And the time before it. And the time before that other time as well.
Now remember, everyone, violet, not violent, violet.
I am surrounded by absolute fools.
Well, you're not the only one, buddy. This is a really cool detail brought to you by the Persona 5 dancing games, which is the fact that you can visit the rooms of your friends. But my only 2 gripes with it is that you only get to visit them at the endgame only once, and that the lines of the characters are not voiced when awakening to their strongest persona. So in order for us to traverse further into Maruki's palace, we have to go to Mementos, and that's okay. But dear God, is this Mementos ass place stretched so hard as if someone decided that time is irrelevant there. You actively have to go through every platform, which is more than 60 floors, all while looking out for shadows. And if you want to go back, you have to spend the same amount of time you took to reach that point you're currently at. Like, imagine if you have to do that in real life with no partway, no shortcut system, and no insta-kill technique, and after school at that. You'd probably waste so much time that you'd wind up going home the next morning and still be forced to go to school. That's not even mentioning the absurdity of you returning back to the Velvet Room just to fuse personas due to the alarm every couple of times, and repeating the same crap over and over while having party members who would constantly whine at you for going up and down just for the purpose of grinding. I'm pretty sure it's past midnight, past your bedtime, and past your ability to function like a normal person. She's lucky that she doesn't have a Morgana to force her to go to sleep.
By the way, what are you doing in my room? How do you know my name?
Oh, well, I'm, sorry. I mistook you for someone else. Looks like I really messed up finding the right room.
Really? But what about your girlfriend?
She's passed away.
It's funny that this actually works on her, even though he unintentionally revised her memories. Like, how did she believe that he mistook her for someone else who has the same name and probably the same looks, but didn't question him when he said that his girlfriend passed away? Like, it's a simple question that she could have asked. How do you mistake a living person for a dead one? Going through a trial by asking around, convening, and choosing the answers that coincides with the ideology of the palace's ruler is honestly a really good idea.
Damn it.
Of course you wouldn't be able to go inside there because of your will of rebellion. This puzzle section is not a problem to go through, but damn is it annoying. How convenient it is that Maruki decided to go on the same day, which just so happens to be the same day the Phantom Thieves defeated Yaldabaoth in, to this loser out of spite, only to fully awaken to his persona and be fully capable of altering reality. The fact that a cat is capable of playing darts for some reason. The fact that the same cat who's playing darts can also visit the jazz club without being kicked out for basically being a feline.
I would like to engage you in combat.
I have no idea how old Lavenza is, like maybe she's 20 but with the body of those Bleach characters that don't age nor grow in height no matter how much time passes. But if a fight like this occurs in the real world, let alone in real life, the Phantom Thieves would be in juvie for sure for physically assaulting someone who looks like a minor.
The myriad truths!
What?
She also goes down the same as the twins. Some things never change.
Could I ask you guys a favor? I'd like you to fight me.
Another minor whose age is unknown and also wants to fight us. What is it with Atlas and this crap? This is the third time I'm forced into doing this.
Thanks to all of you, Ooh, did you learn something new? I'm pretty sure I understand humans less than ever.
So I literally wasted my time fighting you. Speaking of which, this is Raul, Joker's quote-unquote strongest persona, which is the fusion of Arsene and Satanael. Now, you're probably wondering, what's the problem? I'll tell you what's the problem. It's the fact that this godforsaken persona was a part of a DLC that you, the consumer, had to pay for, and this is before Atlas made the decision to make all the DLC of Persona 5 Royal free. Bet you're still wondering. Okay, so? I still don't see the problem. Well, we have two huge problems. First, the fact that they made all of the DLC for free and screwing over those who brought this stupid Ultimate Edition either for full price or on sale, effectively screwing us over our money and not refunding us, and having the audacity to delist the standard version while forcing us to buy the Ultimate Edition. Second is the fact that Raul, the third tier persona that Joker awakens to, is a DLC persona that you pay for. There is no cutscene for the awakening of this persona the same as the party members, nor at the end against Maruki, which, in my humble opinion, cheapens this game so much. Like, look at how cool this persona looks and tell me you don't feel cheated the same way as I do. It's a real shame that both Ella and Heroward, along with their exclusive abilities, are not usable at all until the last day of Maruki's palace.
What's a life worth in a reality that was cooked up just to satisfy someone else? I say none.
Akechi is hands down the most badass character in the third semester. 3 sins off. What the hell is Joker surprised about? He can summon a giant persona with a goddamn gun that can one-shot Adam Cadmon with ease. So why didn't he do that? I really have to say that this third semester is the absolute peak of this game. The emotions, the music, the message, and the performance of the voice actors, especially Dr. Maruki, is captured perfectly. There are certain people who complain that Yaldabaoth should have been the final boss and not Maruki, and I disagree. The fact that the final antagonist is a relatable human who wanted nothing but the happiness of others at the expense of his own, instead of the cliched fake deities that pop at the end of the game and feel unnatural and out of place even if they were hinted at and built up off-screen. For Dr. Maruki, we, the player, actively took our time and helped him reach his goals, so it's not only something we helped create since we want Maruki and his research to succeed, but also something personal given that you have to destroy what you helped create. And that, in my humble opinion, is far more impactful than what Yaldabaoth had to offer, even if he was built up to imprison the masses, even if he was an idiot for trying to prove that what Igor said was nonsense, and even if Dr. Maruki was basically repeating what Yaldabaoth did, but for the better. I really have to give it to the writers. Though they botched up a lot, they really stuck the landing with this one, so 10 sins off.
Now that I think about it, we've been out all night too.
How exactly does time work in this game? Never mind the daily life aspect nonsense that this game pulls, I find it hard to believe that it takes until the next morning to actually beat Dr. Maruki. The Phantom Thieves start after school, so it's possibly 3 to 4 o'clock, and with their route to the treasure being secured, it gives them like 30 minutes to an hour to reach the top, making it either 4:30 or 5 o'clock. That in addition to running for several minutes up the stairs to reach Maruki himself. They'd reach him in either 5:10 or 5:30 depending on how fast they're running, not to mention the boss fight himself, which doesn't take too long to finish and would possibly go for another hour or so, meaning that this fight should have been done before reaching midnight and with plenty of time to spare as well. What do you mean the star allowed you to become a helicopter? This makes no sense at all given the Showtime nonsense that this star only worked on and the fact that you forcefully changed your cognition into a cat helicopter. Once again, you said that it required practice, so what gives?
You taught me to keep my head up, didn't you?
What is it with this ending, and why do I feel that the writers messed it up? The interactions with the characters except for Sumire is fine, I guess, but Sumire, whether I ended up romancing her or not, does not show up to give Joker any kind of memento like the other characters, or show any kind of reaction to Joker leaving, which is a shame considering all the cutscenes where she shows how excited she is to spend time with him and even confessing to him. In this scene, however, I feel like she's just an acquaintance of Joker, which doesn't sit well with me or anyone who played this game. This is just a big fat way of implying that we'll see him in a spin-off game or something.
Is this for real?
For real.
For real? For real? It's for real. For real? For real? For real? For real? For real? Is it for real? For real? You for real? 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 Is he for real? For real? For real? For real?
For real?
For real?
For real.
For real? For real? For real?
For real?
Is this for real or not? For real?
For real.
For real?
For real?
For real? For real?
For real? For real?
For real? For real?
Oh, for real?
Do you think it's for real?
For real? For real? Aw, for real? For real?
For real?
For real?
For real? For real?
For real?
Oh, for real? Whoa, for real?
For real? For real?
For real?
For real? For real?
For real?
For reals? For real? For real? For real? For real?
For real?
For real?
For real? For real? Whoa! For real?
For reals?
For real? For real?
For real?
For real? For real? Oh, for real? For real? For real?
Hell.
For real? For real?
For real?
For real? For real?
Yeah, seems like it's for real this time.
For real this time. For real? For real? For real? For real?
For real? For reals? For real?
For real?
For real? Is this for real?
For real?
All right. For real?
Is this for real?
For real? For real?
For real?
For real? For real though.
Appreciate it.
For real?
We're doing it for real this time after all. For real?
For real?
For real?
For real? For real? For real?
For real? For real?
For real?
For reals? For real? For real? For real?
For real?
Delicious pancakes.